Hi, good morning. Welcome to lesson 5-1 on checking accounts. This is part of our cash control chapter, and it's very important that you understand how to do this because this is a big thing. We don't really physically write checks anymore.
Sure.
So in lesson 5-1, we're going to learn how to record a deposit on a check stub, endorse checks using blank, special, and restrictive endorsements, and prepare a check stub and a check. So while a lot of people do not use checks anymore, it's all done electronically, or you have a printer that prints them out. It's still important you understand how you need to do it just in case. Okay. So how businesses use cash. They use cash for small cash payments, issues related to cash. Some of those are chance of recording errors, ease of transfer without any questions about ownership, and losses cash if moved from one place to another. So safety measures should be in place to make sure that you aren't using actual physical cash. Instead, that's why we use a checking account. So a checking account is a check is a business form ordering a bank to pay cash from a bank account. We all should know what a check looks like. You may not know because maybe your parents don't use that or you haven't been told, but it's just basically a rectangle piece of paper that's printed with Mick or ink, and it goes from the person writing the check to the person receiving the check. And when the person receiving the check deposits it, it tells the bank to transfer that money. A bank account from which payments can be ordered by a depositor is called the checking account. And in order to open a checking account for even personal or business, you need a signature card and you need a deposit slip. So you have to deposit money in there right away. Okay, so when we use a deposit slip, it's basically a bank form which lists the checks, currency, and coins on the account holder is putting into the deposit. A lot of places you don't even need a deposit slip anymore. In fact, you can deposit all types of things at ATMs now. It just depends on what type of business you're in. Whenever I worked for the collection agency, I would have a stack about 6 inches high every day of checks where people were paying their bills that I would have to endorse and deposit each day. It just depends on the nature of the business. This is what a deposit slip looks like. They all do not look the same. They may look different, but it basically has the name of the bank, the name of the account holder, and where you put the date, the currency, the coins, the checks, and then the total amount you're depositing. That bottom numbers are your routing number and your account number. The first numbers are your routing number, which identifies the bank. The second set of numbers is the account number, which identifies the account holder. In order to record a deposit on a check stub, it goes like this. The very first check stub, we put the balance brought forward, which is 0 since this is our first check stub, and we deposited this on January the 2nd for $2,000, and then the subtotal is $2,000. We won't fill out the rest of this until we actually write our first check. However, your deposit is always recorded on your next check stub. So let's say that we have been in business a while and we've written 5 checks, then this would be check number 6's check stub. So the way we do this is we write the balance brought forward on the check stub, which of course is 0 here. If you're in another one, it's going to be from where it says balance carried forward. You're going to bring that to the next check on balance brought forward. Write the date of the deposit on the stub. Write the amount of the deposit on the stub, and then calculate the subtotal. And remember, that's all we're doing on this. Okay, so an endorsement is a signature or stamp on the back of a check transferring ownership. There are 3 types: blank, special, and restrictive. I did see a video or a message on the message board saying that on MindTap it's a little bit different, so we're going to have to see how that works. But basically, this is a blank endorsement. It's just where the endorser signs the back of the check. That means it's endorsed. However, it's not as safe as others. A special endorsement says that maybe we're going to do something. In this case, Michael Delgado is signing the check over to Helen Goldsmith to deposit. However, we don't want to do that. That means that Helen Goldsmith could then take that money instead of depositing it. Special endorsements are sometimes known as endorsements in full, meaning that Helen Goldsmith now has the right to this check. And then a restrictive endorsement is what you should use in a business, and it's for deposit only to the account of Delgado Web Services, and then it's signed. A lot of times there's a stamp that you can use. That's what I used when I was in accounting, that just allows you to easily endorse a bunch of checks. So that's restrictive endorsement. Okay, so this is what a completed check stub and check looks like. On this one, we wrote this out to Eastside Supplies for $165. So we're writing the amount of the check on the check stub. At the very top, you see $165. Then we're going to write the date of the check on the stub, to whom the check is paid for on the stub, what it's for, which is the purpose. Also, make sure you're putting that on the for sign where it says for whatever it's for. Make sure that's written there too. And then the amount of the check in number 5. And then we're going to take our subtotal and subtract out the check to get our new balance carried forward amount. Now this one is going to go to the balance brought forward on stub number 2. Now we're writing the check. We're writing the date the check is issued, write who the check is paid to, write the amount in figures, write the amount in words. Notice it's 165 and no 100s. The no 100s means there's no cents. If it's 35 cents, it'll be 35 over 100 because there's 100 cents in a dollar, right? Then you have to draw the line all the way over to where it says dollars so nobody can fill that in. Write the purpose of the check, and then you would sign the check. Okay. So if we have a void check, meaning we wrote it in error and it's not supposed to be done, we are going to enter it on our journal, and it looks just like this. The date, the word void, the check number, put a check mark in the posting reference, and then draw a dash through the cash credit column. And then we would definitely write void across the check and notate that on the check stub. So 3 types of endorsements: blank, special, and restrictive. The steps for preparing a check stub are all the same steps we just went over. And the steps for preparing the check are all of those same steps. Now let's go and do it on our NGL sync. Okay, so we will go to NGL sync, or to our launch pad, I'm sorry, double click on NGL sync, it'll bring this open. Launch your course. Actually, I need to do this one. Click on the caret to open everything. Expand all, again, at chapter 5, and then 5-1 checking accounts. Go ahead and pause right now, and you're going to go through this reading activity and make sure that you have read all of this information before moving on to working on the OWP problems. Okay, welcome back. Now we're going to do the OWP problems. Okay, let's start with the work together problem. Okay, so for each of these situations, prepare the appropriate endorsement. Enter the student's signature in cells where you would enter the endorser's signature. So a blank endorsement, remember, it only has your signature here. Oh, we actually have to write student signature. Special deposit only would be for deposit only. Clara. Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, this one, sorry, this should be paid to the order of. And then student's signature. And then this one is going to be for deposit only. To the, Okay, so you have to do it like this. Make sure that you see that you have to do for deposit only to The account of Grantsburg Accounting is the third line, and then student's signature goes right there. So I know it's kind of weird, but just make sure you kind of understand how it goes for on the Mind Tap, or you might get it wrong. So let's grade step 1. And yes, it's giving me check marks on everything. Okay, so on this one, we're going to record the balance brought forward on check number 151 as $2,145.88, and then record a deposit of $316. And then we're going to prepare the check for 151. So what we're going to start with is the balance brought forward. They tell us it's $2,145.88. And then we have a deposit on June the 30th, June. Why is it not working? Oh, they're going to want you to do it in numbers, 630, and that is $316, making my subtotal. You're going to have to add it together. Let me get out my calculator. $2,145.88 plus $316 is $2,461.88. And this other is used for any type of like bank fees we might have. And then we're going to bring it down to the subtotal. Okay, so that's recording the deposit. Now they want us to create this check to A1 Computer. So let's start with the amount, which is $148. And this is going to happen on June 30th to A1 Computers. And it's for repairs. And then we're going to put the amount of this check is $148. And then we're going to take the 316 and subtract it from the amount. So it's 2145.88. No, that's not right. It's 2145.88 plus 316. And then we're going to subtract out 148, 2313.88. Okay, now we go and we're going to write the check, June 30th. And this is to A1 Computers, remember? And $148. So right here in the line, we're going to put 100 and 148. Okay, guys, you have to put the dash between the 48, and no /100s. And it's for repairs. And then, of course, this would be student's signature. Whew. Okay, so grade step 2. Now let's go to the next step. We're going to bring forward this amount to here, $2313.88, which was what our balance was on the last one. And we are going to write this check for $62, and it is going to be on June 30th, and it's to Southwest Supplies. And it's for supplies. Okay, so there's no deposit, so our subtotal is just going to be the same thing. There's nothing for other, so we subtotal again. And then the amount of this check is $62. So now we need to subtract $62 out of that, which is $2251.88. Now, come over here, we're going to write the check, June 30, and it's to Southwest Supply for $62. And the way we write that is 60-2, and no /100 for supplies, and then student's signature. And then grade the final step. So you're definitely going to have to pay attention to how to write those. Okay, now you're going to do the on your own, and let me know if you have any questions.